There are battles happening around us that human eyes cannot see. Wars older than kingdoms, conflicts hidden behind governments, churches, families, and even human thoughts. Most people wake up every morning unaware that the atmosphere around them is alive, watching, moving, waiting, and one night, a man was allowed to see it. The vision began beneath a blood-red sky. The clouds above the earth twisted unnaturally, like living shadows fighting against invisible chains. There was no peace in the air, no comfort, only pressure, a suffocating spiritual heaviness. The kind that makes your soul feel danger before your mind understands why. Then, the ground trembled. At first it sounded distant, like thunder beyond mountains, but the sound grew louder, steadier, rhythmic, marching, thousands of feet, no, millions. An army was coming. From the horizon emerged blackness, not ordinary darkness, not ordinary darkness. This darkness moved, it breathed, it swallowed light itself. Then shapes began to form within it. Creatures. Some rode upon monstrous beasts with glowing eyes. Others had wings like bats. Faces twisted with hatred, and crowns forged from fire. Some spirits appeared beautiful from afar, elegant, almost heavenly, but as they drew near, their faces transformed into horror. Rotting smiles, empty eyes, skin moving like worms beneath flesh. And above the army, dark birds circled the skies, screaming over the nations. The narrator understood something terrifying. This army was not fiction. It was organized, strategic, ancient. At first, he believed the army was marching against the world, against governments, against cities, against sinners. But then the vision shifted, and horror filled his heart. The army turned toward the church, toward believers. High above the demonic hordes, dark commanders lifted their weapons, and suddenly, arrows filled the sky. But these were not physical arrows. Each arrow carried a name: fear, bitterness, lust, jealousy, offense, religion, pride, despair, accusation. The arrows struck believers everywhere, and most never even noticed. A preacher continued shouting sermons while chains wrapped around his feet. A worship leader sang beautifully, while serpents coiled around her neck. Church members smiled outwardly, while poison dripped slowly into their hearts. And then came the most terrifying revelation of all. Many believers were already carrying demons, without knowing it. Not possession, influence, control, manipulation, darkness whispering through wounds, through ambition, through offense, through pride. The greatest weapon of hell was not destruction, it was deception. The narrator saw multitudes of believers sleeping, not physically, spiritually, distracted by entertainment, consumed by self, arguing while darkness advanced, laughing while chains formed around nations, blind to the war happening above them. Then a voice echoed through the vision. Mysterious voice, low, powerful. They do not know they are at war. Silence. And suddenly the narrator understood why the army was advancing so easily. Most of humanity could not even see it. Then far beyond the darkness, he saw light. A mountain, massive, holy. Its peak disappeared into blazing glory. And upon the mountain stood warriors. Their armor burned with light, their swords shimmered like fire. Some knelt in prayer, others stood watching the darkness below, and above them, eagles soared through the storm, massive creatures riding violent winds higher into the heavens. The narrator understood immediately. These eagles represented believers who could still see clearly. Watchmen, prophetic voices, intercessors, people who refused spiritual blindness. But climbing the mountain was terrifying. At every level, believers were forced to confront themselves. Pride, fear, ambition, self-glory. Some climbed high, only to fall suddenly into darkness. Others stopped climbing entirely, afraid of the light, because the higher they climbed, the more the light exposed what was hidden inside them. Yet the warriors at the summit kept ascending, no matter the cost. Below them, the hordes of darkness continued marching across the earth. Cities shook spiritually. Nations entered confusion. Violence spread. Truth collapsed. And then, the heavens opened. A voice thundered across the earth. Not weak, not afraid. A voice filled with eternal authority. The voice. The war has already been decided. Suddenly the warriors lifted their swords. Light exploded across the darkness. The demonic armies screamed. The earth trembled, and the narrator realized something that changed him forever. This was not merely a vision of the future. It was a revelation of the invisible war already happening around humanity. Every day, every nation, every soul, and as the vision faded, one final truth remained burning in his spirit. The greatest danger was not darkness itself. The greatest danger was believers falling asleep while darkness advanced. But somewhere upon the mountain, a remnant was still awakening, and heaven was preparing them for war. Because even hell trembles when awakened believers remember who they are